Hi everyone, I'm Jen, one of the writers at JetPens. We asked 4 artists among the JetPens team, including myself, what they'd buy if they had $50 to spend at our online stationery store. You might be surprised by what we consider must-have supplies. Today, we'll be showing 2 of our sets. Stay tuned for the next part for the other half. I usually draw digitally in my spare time, but lately I've been getting into markers, since I dabbled a bit into Copic markers as a kid. But since Copics aren't the most affordable, if I had $50 to spend at JetPens, I'd pick art supplies that can cover my bases for casual drawing and sketching, with a few Copics in the mix. First, paper. Although you can use marker paper, I prefer using watercolor paper when I work with markers. Global Fluids watercolor pads are portable and great quality for the price, and alcohol markers don't bleed through in my experience. The paper is designed for wet media, so each sheet is glued along 2 edges, keeping it from warping while you're working on your piece. Next, I get a Pilot Color Eno mechanical pencil in soft blue. Since I won't be erasing the sketch before coloring, I like for it to be blue since it blends in with the finished piece without getting the actual colors muddy. Sketches that are done in gray graphite can end up muddying the colors. For the next step, Kuretake Zig Clean Color Dot Markers in Mild work great for base colors. I like that they're light, but still vibrant enough to let your drawings pop. I usually use them sparingly for adding shadows, but you can also use them as base colors, then add depth and shadows using powder blue, English lavender, or baby pink, or a Copic marker. I personally like using V93 Early Grape the most, since I like warmer colors, but BV02 Prune and BV13 Hydrangea Blue are my go-tos for bluer shadows. Once your colors are dry, you can work on line art. I've lined artwork with microns for most of my life, so I'm always restocking them. The 0.25mm tip size is a good middle point for me, since it's small enough for drawing finer details, but large enough that I can line the rest of the drawing. I saved the line art for last, because the Kuretake Zig markers can smear micron ink if you apply too much pressure. Finally, I'd get a white Sakura Jelly Roll in Fine for adding extra details, like highlights or rim lighting.
Hi everyone, my name is Laura and I'm a warehouse associate at JetPens. I love making my own stickers and collecting cute items in my spare time. I generally work with digital art and occasionally watercolor, but when I'm not at home, I like to carry around a few essentials for convenient sketching. If I had $50 to spend at JetPens, I'd start off with a good base. The Stillman & Byrne brand is one of my favorites. I specifically use the Zeta line because I like to work with wetter mediums, so it can take a bit of wear and tear and has minimal buckling. I also like to decorate the cover with tons of stickers because it's plain. I own a lot of pencils, but in an attempt to save space because I can't bring all of my pencils with me, I recently started gravitating towards the Sunstar Nicolo pencil. And this pencil has 0.3 and 0.5 lead, so you can alternate between the lead sizes. I like adding the Uni Nino Dia erasable colored lead so I can alternate between colored and graphite sketches. It also works great under the Kuretake Zig Cartoonist Flexible Pen. It has good line variation and feels nice gliding on the paper. I like the sepia ink, but it comes in black as well. For most people, 3 erasers might be too much, but for me, I can't live without them. Each eraser has its own special feature. The Tombow Mono Dust Catch has the capabilities of a regular eraser, but the shavings actually can gather into clumps to prevent them from getting all over your table and floor. The Mono Zero is used for precision sketching, and since I like to carry around a smaller book, it's a lifesaver. It's perfect for getting into those delicate areas of the sketch so you don't have to worry about accidentally erasing unwanted areas. The Prismacolor Kneaded Eraser is like the traditional version of lowering layer opacity in digital art. With this, you can lighten up your sketches so you're able to render it without too much muddiness from the pencil lead. It also makes it easier to see where you're lining if you do line art. Next, I choose a pack of Zebra Mild liners. They come in many color combinations, but I chose the Refresh Mild color set because I've been into vivid colors recently. These aren't quite art supplies, but I like to use them to add pops of color into my sketches. I like using water-based markers because they're fast drying, so it makes it easier to jot down my ideas without too much wait time if I'm out in a public space. Since they're water-based, they can actually be blended with a blender or a water brush to create cool gradients and smudging effects. Any colorless blender or even a water brush will do, but I prefer the Tombow Dual Brush Pen in N00 for its firmer nib. It gives me a bit more control over where I'm smudging the pigment. Lastly, I have the Uniball Signo Gel Pen in white. I use it to fix mistakes and add contrast to drawings.
We'd love to know what art supplies you would get if you had $50 to spend at JetPens. Or, if you've already bought art supplies from us, let us know in the comments what your favorites are. You can shop everything we showed at JetPens.com, the place for pen and stationery lovers. Thanks for watching, and remember to like and subscribe.